let me welcome Emanuela Correia from Brazil. She is also a right-handed. So we have third right-handed speaker. She is a founder, Canhotopia. I hope Emanuela I'm pronounce it rightly. Founder member leftin.org. The topic she is going to speak on is celebrating left-handedness, how to show the blessings to a young lefty. She is a researcher, consultant, and trainer focusing on left-hand education. In 2016, she founded Canhotopia, a Brazilian organization aiming at helping teachers and parents to guide left-handed children at school and at home. Since 2018, she has been running workshops for teachers and parents. She is also the author of the ebook in Portuguese, How to Help Your Left-Handed Child to Have a Smudge-Free Homework. So let us welcome Emanuela and have some more inputs for handling lefties in home and in school.
Hmm. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here today among these amazing people that some of them I've been working with since 2016. And it's a great topic. And I believe it's important that we keep talking and keep pushing the subject until we see the young lefties accommodated in all their needs. So I'm going to share now my presentation. Just a minute here, please. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, it is seen.
Can
Yes.
you
Go
make it
ahead,
full
please.
screen if it's possible? Full screen?
Full screen. Let me just try here.
Are you on Mac?
Yes, I'm on Mac.
Okay.
Can you see
Yes.
it now?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's better. Yeah.
Better? Okay. So I chose this topic because I always found interesting to realize the feelings of the young lefties. And I appreciate that Mark have mentioned at the end of his presentation about how proud his son felt about being left-handed. But because this is what we aim to achieve, we aim that our young lefties are able to recognize how interesting and important and beautiful it is to be a lefty. Because sometimes when they are young, they are not still able to recognize the blessing, and sometimes they can find it more a burden than a blessing. That's why I chose this topic and why I think we should always care for how the young left is feeling and how we can encourage them and uplift this proud feeling. And yes, here. So why it matters to encourage them, why it matters to make them understand how important it is to understand their strengths. Because most tools, as they have mentioned before, Steve, Mark, and Tracy, most tools are made for right-handers. Lefties, because of this, develop resilience, creativity, and adaptation because they need to overcome some challenges in dealing with those objects, those tools. And because of this, we need to support our young lefties and help them to feel proud rather than feeling just different. I know that they are different, but the different I mean here is a different in a bad connotation. They should understand that being different is okay, it's beautiful, and it's important because on the other hand, they can develop so many abilities that others could not. So, as they mentioned before, the left brain has a different connection and they are more likely to be creative, artistic, and good at multitasking. So many famous creative lefty but many famous creative lefties like Leonardo da
Lina, please mute.
And then maybe we
Lena
have
is not
maybe
aware.
other
May you kindly
examples.
ask her to
Lena,
mute
please
again?
mute. Lena, please mute.
She's not hearing.
I believe she's not hearing, but I think I can continue. I can carry on. And there are so many other left-handers who are famous that we can realize. We had a leader of a nation, the US President Barack Obama. We had a media icon, Oprah Winfrey, who have influenced so many people. There is Bill Gates, a tech visionary, Lady Gaga, Mary Curie. So there we have so many examples of lefties who achieved greatness, and they can be, of course, always an inspiration to our young lefties. So it's important that we can show the children the everyday superpowers that they have. For instance, when they find the challenge of right-handed tools, the lefty strength is adaptation. They go for finding a way to use it or having another tool that is adapted for them. When writing in notebooks, they need innovation in the sense that they need to follow the tips and rules that Mark and Tracy have mentioned before, how important it is to write in a notebook in a way that is comfortable and that it does not smudge their work. With musical instruments, it's another way of a lefty strength. It leads to creativity. So many lefty-handers who are very famous musicians and that we can look for and look up. Lefties makes master workarounds every day, and this is a strength that should always be praised. And how can we support a young lefty? They have explained very deeply all those details. So what I would like just to mention is that giving the left-handed tools, the scissors, pens, notebooks, this is a way of helping them for teachers and parents in never forcing them to write right-handed writing, which is not only harmful, but always affects their self-esteem because it's difficult for them to write in a way that is not comfortable and instinctive for them. And also celebrate their uniqueness. We can celebrate it by showing how great other lefties has become and always show them that it is great to have those differences that increases those strengths of resilience, adaptability, and creativity. And we can always see them on the left side, as Mark have mentioned many times. This is a way that this is something very important, that we are always attentive for the elbow situation. In the practical encouragement that we should always try to have with the children, to show role models and heroes, as I've shown before. So many great people that are lefties and overcame the use of right-handed instruments and overcame all the small difficulties that they challenge during their daily lives. And also say things like, you are just like Obama or Mary Curie, showing them that these role models can be also achieved and show them that it's great to be a lefty. The key takeaways that I would like to bring over today is that lefties are remarkable. They adapt, they solve problems, and they thrive creatively. We can help them to feel confident and proud of who they are and celebrate their left-handedness like a superpower. So I've seen this inspirational quote that I liked very much, which says that being left-handed is not a disability, it's a powerful difference, because this is, and I brought it today because this is what I trust. I believe that it is indeed a power difference. I am right-handed, I have a left-handed child, and this is how I met those incredible people. When I first found my daughter was left-handed, she was 4 years old. It was her teacher who told me she was left-handed. I myself couldn't realize she was left-handed. although my mother and my father are left-handers, both of them. And when I found out that she was left-handed, I decided, my husband suggested me, go get her a pair of scissors. Then I looked for a small shop that I thought it was small. And then when I got there, I found Tracy. And Tracy brought this new world to me. She showed me, I had her workshops, and she showed me the instruments and the tools that I could get for my daughter, and how I could raise her in a way that it would be easier for her, and for her also to be more proud of who she was. And I'm very grateful, because when I started this journey, I wouldn't imagine I would be here today. And it's almost 10 years ago that this happened. And after meeting Tracy, I met Mark, and then Steve, and then Bipin, and I began to know all these people who today are trying to bring the change to their countries. And here in Brazil, I also have a partner who has his own business, and he brings and share information with the Brazilian community. And he has a website where he shares valuable information for left-handed children. The name of his business is Mundo Canhoto, which means it's a lefty world. And it's very nice, because both of us are trying here in Brazil to increase the awareness and to make our lefties be proud of themselves. That's what I'd like to say today. I'd like to thank you, and let's encourage and uplift every young lefty, remembering that different isn't wrong, it's powerful. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Emanuela. That was great to hear. Now we have heard a right-handed mother raising her son. Now we also heard right-handed mother raising her daughter. I just wanted to ask you and Tracy, is there any difference raising left-handed daughter and left-handed son?
Now they will have to sit together and discuss. Maybe there is, but we don't know subtleties of
Any
daughter and son.
specific, if you can share, Emanuela?
I only have a daughter. My father is left-handed, so I have the perspective of a male and a female here. And what I can say, because as my mother and my father, they are both left-handers, I could see what were the different struggles that they faced. It was very interesting. But I also find that they were maybe personal things more than because, for instance, my mother always found many difficulties at the kitchen. For her, the kitchen was a mess. It was really difficult for her. And I could see, because of her, was in a different generation. Her sisters would say that she was help me with the word in English, that she was clumsy, that she wouldn't know how to cook, and to send her away from the kitchen. And it's interesting that when I began to talk about this here in Brazil, when she realized, and she was over 60, and she was already saying, oh, this is what happened to me, and being able to finally understand that there wasn't anything wrong with her. There was just a difficulty due to the tools that weren't appropriate for her. And how her self-esteem changed at the kitchen. Today, my mom is a person who cooks, and she's spent 60 years not being able to come to the kitchen because her sisters would send her away, would say, you don't know how to cook, you make a mess, everything you do is a mess. And 60 years later, because of this awareness that it's nothing wrong with her, it's the tools, she began to, and then, for instance, she was trying to use the scissors, or maybe she was trying to grate a cheese, or anything she was trying to do. Now she has the confidence. And this is why, for me, this topic about being a proud left-hander is important, because sometimes the person might stop herself from doing something because she thinks there is something wrong with her. And in fact, the problem is the tool, not the person. And it called my attention a couple of years ago when I saw this research which says that 80%, 85% of left-handers found themselves clumsy. And I found that very hard, because they needed to understand that there was nothing wrong with them. The world was not appropriate for them. And that's, for me, something very important. For my father, on the other hand, his issues weren't in the kitchen, as most of the time he wasn't over there, but he had other issues. He had issues, for instance, with the belt. Putting a belt for him was like, shoelaces and those kind of things. And also for him, understanding. And the thing is, my father is a lefty, but he doesn't write with his left hand because my grandma tied his hand in a chair and he wouldn't be able to write with his left hand. So he writes with, he feels pain, but he writes until today with his right hand. Although he's a lefty, and you can see the things he does. It's interesting, the things that Tracy was mentioning before, how he deals with the objects and how he turns things. And you can see he's a lefty, but he just writes with his right hand. And yes, so I think when we have a male and a female, sometimes you can see those differences where they are more, dealing with those objects. And it's these
So
that I'd like
dealing with left-handed parents was easy, or left-handed daughter was easy?
I was the right-handed daughter of left-handed parents. I am here different from everybody else, right? It is, you know that, doctor. I have never thought of this, but it's interesting because I have both left-handers parents at home organizing things that the way it was easier for them, of course. It made sense for both of them, right? And the interesting thing is they have 3 daughters. Any of them are left-handers. So they skip the whole generation. The 3 daughters, all daughters, no left-handers, all right-handers, the 3 daughters. And then it came my daughter, which is a lefty. And it's been a journey, an amazing journey with her.
Great. Thank you, Emanuela, for this nice experience. Anybody has any points to raise, question or anything? Can we move on to other speaker? Tracy, you raise hand. Yeah.
Just to add, you were asking about, is there a difference between raising a girl or a boy? And I want to add also things like the DIY around the house, with the tape measure and the screwdriver. That would more be kind of the boy's side, and also the Swiss Army knife. I know that was a big deal for my son. He had his own Swiss Army knife that no one else could use because everything was wrong on there for the right hand. So it's, I suppose, just as you say, those different areas where they find themselves in, and that's where they find the challenges. And also in the beginning, when you spoke about parents, Bipin, I think you mentioned something about tapping into the parents, because we've heard the story of Kate in Australia that Steve has been dealing with. We are ferocious. We are such advocates, and we keep fighting and keep moving forward for the sake of our children. And I think that's what makes parents that are right-handed for the left-handed child so useful and important. And as you say, we need to get those parents, because those are the ones that are going to affect the change, because you don't stop until you've got the change.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We didn't have any experience about left-handed wife or left-handed husband here, only child and son and daughter. Maybe that would have been an interesting case, handling with a left-hander husband or left-hander wife. So let us move on further. Mebo, you have something to say? You raise hand.
Yes, thank you so much. I want to say all the 3 presenters who are parents. Matt Tracy nailed it on the head. I wanted to say that what we are crying about in terms of being left-handed and not, moving with the fire, with the spark, with the energy. Sometimes is the very essence that, we become entrapped into ourselves and this journey that is too personal and too direct. And we definitely need to really be having this movement now, not just a move, but a movement where parents are together with the left-handers really championing the cause. And I believe that it will be more impactful that way. But also just the last point on parents and the children is how it would be so impactful and positive that the parents who are even on this platform and other parents could have an opportunity of a parents network. That would really strengthen what we're talking about, because otherwise we would continue to speak in pockets and not advance as we ought to. And like what Mark has done and his beautiful wife, they've created tools that also can be able to be used even in different countries, in different opportunities. And we need to tap into that from the parents. I'm just using him as an example. There's Tracy, and also Manuela is leading from that. So I'm saying, let's really advance this cause beyond just this conference, even for the Parents Network. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
With all the parents' inputs, I'm planning to start another organization with all of your help, Global Association of Parents of Left-handers.
Okay.
That's more important than
Brilliant.
Association of Left-handers.